In this episode, let's take a look at how to use the preg replace callback function so that we can run some operations on what was matched first. And to do that, we'll use maybe a template. So we'll say template is going to be equal to hello, my name is, and I'm going to use a template tag. So we'll say name. How are you? I am, and we'll say status. And that way we can populate this sentence with the values we provided. I do this a lot for email correspondence where I can put in their name, I can put in any other conditions that I require. So we'll keep it at that. And next I want to write a little program that will search through this, find each set of curly braces and replace it with what I have provided. So with that in mind, I need to create an array called data. And this will be equal to the replacements. But I don't want to simply do something like this because it'll be harder to maintain and also it's dependent upon the sequence that this array occurs in. Instead, let's use an associative array. That way we can say name, Jeffrey, and this would probably be created dynamically from a database or something like that. And status will say fine. Next, rather than doing preg replace, I want to do preg replace callback so that I can work in this data array. So we'll do preg replace callback. The first one is going to be the regular expression. So let's copy this and come back over and paste this in. And all we're looking for is a curly brace, anything that is not a closing curly brace, one or more, followed by a curly brace. And we learned how to do the not and character classes, I believe, in chapter 2. So I will come back and place this in. Next, the second function is going to be the callback function. So I'm going to write my CB for my callback. And the third parameter is going to be, what are we looking through? We're looking for this template right here. So now this is one option, is if you're using PHP 5.2 or lower, you can reference callback function like so, and that will receive the matches. Now, if you're using PHP 5.3 or higher like me, you can use anonymous functions, and I think that makes it a lot more cleaner. So we'll do that in this case. Just know if you're building for PHP 5.2 or lower, make sure you change this to a named function because they do not support anonymous functions. So now it's going to accept the matches, and if I print our matches, let's see if we got anything. If I load the page and I view source, you can see that we have an array. Now note we have two arrays, but each array contains what we found. Now note, this is running, this callback function isn't just running once. So it doesn't run this regular expression on each set and then run a callback function. It's gonna run the callback for every match that it finds. And you can see that by saying echo h1. And then if I come back and load the page, you'll get two runs because first it found name. So then it's gonna run this regular expression callback. Next, it continues on and it finds status that matches. So then it runs the next set, as you can see right here. So what we want to do now is notice that what we are matching is the curly braces. But what I want to do here is call one of these items from our array. So ideally, I want to say data name. And if I were to return that, it's going to return Jeffrey. So let's hard code this in. And then finally, once this is returned, we need to make sure we overwrite the value of template or create a new variable. For now, let's just override it and echo template with this hard-coded data. If I load the page, we say, hello, my name is blank. How are you? I am blank. So why is that? And that's because we are within a callback function and we're trying to reference what we have here as a global variable. So if you want to bring the data array in, let's make sure we say global data so that we can work with it. Next, I'll try it again, and now we see the hard-coded value is in. Of course, that's not what we want though. We want to get what was supplied. But the problem is right now, matches does not equal name. Instead, it equals that wrapped in curly braces. So why don't we just strip out the name by taking what's inside the curly braces and creating a capturing group like so. And now, once again, I'm going to print our matches and see what we get this time. And now you can see the first key will be equal to the stripped name. So now we take that value and call it on the data array. And we're going to say return data matches 1. And then once again, let's make sure we bring it in. So global data. And as we can see here, as we'd expect, hello, my name is Jeffrey, we have populated that template. If I were to change it to Joey, excellent, we've now filled it. So let's take this a bit further and integrate some of the things that we've learned. For example, if we don't want to do matches 1, we could reference the tag name by using a named capture. So within here, if you remember, we do $P and then the tag name, and we'll say template tag. Now, if you remember in the previous chapter, if we print our matches, we will now have a new array key. View source, and you can see we can reference that. But again, remember, it still retains the original indexes. It just adds a new one on. But that makes it easier for us because now I can reference matches template tag, and I'm still going to get the exact same thing. If you wanted to take this even further and you're working on a large set, you could even extract it. So I could say extract all of the matches, and now we can reference template tag. By the way, extract will take an array and make each key in the array available as a variable. So if we ran extract on data, we would then have the name variable, which would equal Joey, and the status variable, which would equal excellent. This is used in MVC frameworks quite a bit when passing values to a view. And now we could remove all of this and reference template tag. And now you can see we're getting the exact same effect. If we want to add one more, I want you to note as soon as we add another one, watch what happens if I load the page. It's going to be blank because nothing was matched. So you should probably in your project do something like this, is set, and then we're going to look in the array and see is the value, in this case location, does data location exist? If so, then we'll return that data template tag. Otherwise, if it does not exist, maybe you could return a default value like so. Let's try that out. And now you can see we have this match, but we are providing a default. Or you could even do something like here, default, and then you could return data default. So we could even rip data out and we could say return data and then put our isSet in there. But in this case, readability is more important. We'll keep it like that. If I load the page, once again, we are getting that default value. So this is specifically when you would use callbacks, when you want to run operations on what was matched rather than simply doing a search and replace function. So that's going to do it for this chapter.